Prison Architect is a real-time strategy game similar to City Builders. You are in charge of building and running a prison. You get to design the daily regime, customize room sizes and its contents to your specific likings, control what types of prisoners get in and out of your prison, and basically just try to stay in business. The gameplay of Prison Architect is what you could expect from City Builders. You can designate a certain amount of tiles to a room, place objects in that room to help it function, and try to find the perfect size for each room and distance between them for optimal efficiency. You also have to design your travelways, as letting prisoners travel through tiny hallways can lead to a lot of angry shoving and death. Add customizing and caring for your own staff to that, taking care of scheduling, and dealing with gangs, and you have a pretty in-depth simulator here. Not to mention, there's a whole nother game mode where you get to play as a prisoner and try to escape. That game mode is admittedly lacking and completely lacks a tutorial, whereas the main game has an entire campaign that literally serves as an over-glorified tutorial. There's a lot to do in this game, and with all the options, it's very fun and addicting while you're playing it, especially for the first time. This is one of those games where you start up your first prison at 8 p.m., look up, and realize it's 2 a.m. The 5 more minutes mentality definitely exists in Prison Architect. The story of this game is really rather interesting for a campaign that, as I said, just serves as a tutorial. Unfortunately, it does suffer about halfway in because the game has a lot of bugs that I don't believe are ever getting fixed. The reason I say that is because the devs have, for the most part, stopped updating this game. They do not regularly patch it anymore. The third mission in particular has a nasty one where you have to move riot police around, and if you go the obvious closest route, you fail the mission because your riot police get stuck in the second doorway, stop moving, stop defending themselves, and just generally stop responding. Other than the bugs it has though, the campaign was really quality, and it adds something that the sandbox mode could not have captured. It really tied together nicely while teaching you exactly what you needed to know for the sandbox mode when the game really opened up to you. The graphics and sound are both really lacking. I don't think the graphics should bother you for a game like this, but the sounds definitely should. This game lacks a lot of specific sound effects and opts for ambience effects instead, based on where your prisoners are and what they're doing based on the regime. That's why the cafeteria clatters and reverberates with silverware and voices during dinner, but you'll find your prison woefully quiet during the free time and lockup periods, no matter what a large chunk of the prisoners are actually doing. This all does a lot to take away from any immersion the game could have had, which is unfortunate but not the biggest deal for a title in this genre. This game is an amazing simulator, and it doesn't suffer from the same traffic issues most games in this genre do, where you build bigger and bigger, and suddenly you can't get everyone where they need to go because they all want to take one very crowded route instead of the many available to them. It does, however, have its own critical late-game issue I think you should all be aware of. It's the fact that once you have one of everything in a prison population that suits it, you get to a point where all you have left to do is repeat what you've already done. There's no expansion of districts or ability to connect distant parts of your prison to make things easier like in City Builders, because after you get to a certain point of expansion, you're basically forced to start over in one of a few ways. You can continue to expand the same prison by doing the same thing over, again in some other chunk of free space you have, or just continuously expanding the one building prison you might be trying to make. But then that brings in the hassle of assigning certain rooms to only certain service part of the prison. You lose control over exactly where and what your prison population will do nonetheless. And the only way to continue to make money is just off of the profits of what you've already done. Because at this point in the game, you've already used all the grants that help you build up your prison in the first place. Or if you want, you can sell what you've made and start a fresh empty lot with the value of your previous prison in your pocket, sort of like a New Game Plus, and with all the grants once again available to you. This process, though, is eventually what had me quit this game. I think this is one of the biggest flaws of this game and any kind of city builder type game that lacks districts and opts for specific buildings instead. Overall though, Prison Architect is a fun game. It's definitely above average, but it's not the indie gem everyone says it is. This gets a 6 out of 10 from me. I definitely recommend buying it if you enjoy this genre when it's on sale, because $30 for something you can experience all of within 8 hours is not a good price for your money. If you really love this niche, then you'll love this game. And with modding support and the ability to save and share your prisons, it even has its own little community of builders you can become a part of. It could have been better, but it's fine as it is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next Res Reviews.